chosen one. There are 7 dreams God uses to speak to you in the stillness of night, often without you even realizing the divine hand behind them. Lately, something in your nights has shifted. You wake up with a strange heaviness or a quiet in the air that feels unnatural, an atmosphere thick with meaning you can't quite put into words. Perhaps there's a symbol that keeps returning, a phrase you don't remember hearing but cannot forget. Most people ignore this, chalk it up to imagination. But here's the truth few are willing to confront. Your dreams are not random. They are not the accidental flickers of a tired mind. Heaven does not waste vision, and when your eyes close, God often opens the eyes of your soul. In those hours when the body rests, the spirit becomes the listener. You have seen things that don't exist in the physical realm. Floods of water, serpents moving where they shouldn't be, doors that vanish into thin air, and yet the images remain sharper than most waking memories. That is no accident. It's not fantasy. It's not just a dream. It is a spiritual briefing, encrypted in symbols only meant for those chosen to see beyond the veil, while others treat dreams like background noise scrolling past them in their minds. You've been hand-selected to notice, to decode, to translate heaven's messages. If you are still reading this, understand. It's not casual curiosity that's brought you here. It's confirmation. You are under divine instruction. Night is not simply for rest in your life. It has become an activation ground. Tonight, we will uncover the 7 dreams God uses to reach you when your conscious mind is unaware. By the end, you will never look at sleep the same way again. But I need you to hear this with intention. Every sentence you read right now is part of the message itself. Miss one detail, and you might miss the very code that was meant to unlock your next breakthrough. If you're ready to awaken even in your sleep, lean in. Set your heart to receive. Let this not be another moment you skim past. Dream 1. Water, the language of the Spirit. If you have seen water in your dreams lately, you must do more than remember it. You must interpret it. In the realm of the Spirit, water is never just water. It is a language of its own, layered with depth and nuance, carrying messages from the heart of heaven. Perhaps in your dream you were drowning, struggling to breathe, pulled under by invisible currents you couldn't fight. That's not simply fear. It's a revelation. It's heaven showing you that you are being swallowed by unspoken emotions, by wounds you've buried so deep they've begun to dictate your choices in silence. You may be losing a battle no one knows you're fighting, and God is urgently calling you back to the shore before you are overwhelmed completely. But maybe your dream was of still, clear waters, calm, reflective, and peaceful. That is not simply a dream of rest. That is alignment. It is confirmation that you are flowing with His will even if in the natural world everything still looks uncertain. God is showing you that your inner posture is right, even if your circumstances are chaotic. And yet, if you saw wild thrashing waves, storms rising on the horizon, currents pulling you toward the unknown, don't panic. You're not in danger. You're in transition. God shakes loose the old structures inside of you, not to destroy you, but to cleanse you. Water in this form is a purging force, stripping away what you've outgrown and baptizing you into something greater. Here is the detail many overlook. The way you react to water in your dream mirrors how you respond to God in your waking life. Do you run from it, try to control it, or do you surrender and let it carry you? Each reaction is a spiritual answer to a question God is asking in the unseen. So, the next time you dream of water, don't merely ask, "What does this mean?" Ask instead, "Lord, where are you trying to take me that my fear will not let me go?" Dream 2. The serpent. Hidden threats revealed. When a snake slithers into your dream, you're not being haunted by random nightmares. You're receiving an alert from the spiritual realm. The serpent rarely speaks. It signals. It arrives not to terrify, but to warn. If in your dream you were bitten, understand that the venom is not physical. It's emotional and spiritual poison. It can represent jealousy, gossip, or betrayal from someone who appears friendly but quietly hopes for your downfall. And the place of the bite matters. If the snake bites your hand, it is your calling that is under attack. If it bites your foot, your direction and path are being targeted. If the snake was hidden under your bed, in the grass, or just behind a loved one, this is not mere fear. It is spiritual surveillance. It means you are being watched by a camouflage threat, possibly even through a relationship you trust. The enemy often works through the most familiar access points. Now, if you killed the snake in the dream, don't overlook that victory. It is a battle won in the unseen, a deliverance carried out while your body rested, but your spirit stood armed. God sends serpent dreams not to create paranoia, but to sharpen your discernment. So you stop assuming every smile is sincere and start testing every spirit that enters your life. Here's the hard truth most avoid. Some smiles carry venom, and some prayers spoken over you are curses in disguise. In dreams, masks often slip, revealing what the waking world hides. The next time a serpent shows itself in your night vision, do not run. Do not panic. Ask with boldness, "Lord, who in my life is close enough to bite but silent enough to deceive?" Dream 3. The door. Thresholds and timing. When a door appears in your dream, you're not just looking at wood and hinges. You're standing at a threshold in the spirit, and heaven is trying to show you what cannot yet be seen in the natural. Whether the door opens, locks, cracks, or vanishes, each detail carries a code about the timing and direction of your calling. If the door is open, do not celebrate without discernment. It may be an opportunity, but it is also a test. What you're stepping into now was prayed for by the version of you that barely made it through last season. Open doors mean the next chapter is available, but obedience will always be the key that determines whether you walk through it in the right way. If the door is locked, resist the urge to curse the delay. God may be protecting what you're not yet ready to carry. A locked door is not rejection. It's preservation. Silence from heaven can be louder and kinder than a yes when you're not prepared. If the door is broken, take it seriously. That means an outside force has tried to force its way into your life. It's a spiritual security breach, a sign that an enemy has located your access point and is attempting to sabotage your next move before you take it. But sometimes the dream isn't about the door's condition. It's about your readiness. If you're just standing there in the hallway, frozen before the unknown, God may be revealing that you've prayed for something you are not yet ready to step into. The question then is not about the door at all. It's about your courage to walk through what you've asked for. The next time this vision comes, with the handle before you and mystery behind it, ask yourself, do I have the faith to enter the very future I begged God to send? Chosen one, when a baby appears in your dream, it is almost never about the literal presence of a child. It is about the unveiling of responsibility. You are not simply being shown innocence, you are being shown a seed. This seed is a divine deposit, something fragile yet holy, small in form yet vast in consequence. It might come as an idea, a calling, a purpose, or a spiritual assignment destined to shape more lives than your own. Holding a baby in your dream means God has entrusted you with something sacred, something that must be nourished, protected, and fought for. It will not survive on passive care. It requires your active, intentional guardianship. Now, if in that dream the baby is crying, hear me. This is not a background sound to ignore. That cry is the voice of your calling, desperate for attention, signaling that you have delayed too long, hesitated too much, or doubted your capacity to carry out what was placed in your hands. Heaven will not wait forever, and the dream is heaven's reminder that you must respond now. More urgent still is the dream in which the baby is abandoned. This is the most severe warning. It speaks of walking away from a divine trust, leaving a spiritual pregnancy untended. Just as in the natural, an unattended newborn will not survive, so too will your spiritual assignment perish if left without care. This dream is not about biological parenthood. It is about the legacy you have been called to birth into the world. Even if those around you cannot see or name it, deep inside you know it's there. A stirring, a pressure, a holy weight that refuses to be silenced. And the enemy is not afraid of who you are today. He is terrified of what you carry. That is why your opposition intensified, why your sleep shifted, why battles emerged without clear cause, because something in you is nearing the moment of emergence. So when you see that baby again in your dreams, do not simply ask, "What is this?" Instead, plead, "God, how do I raise what you have just birthed in me?" There are dreams that whisper gently, and there are dreams that pierce straight through the veil. When someone who has passed away visits you in the night, you are not merely remembering them. You are stepping into the thin place where the living and the eternal briefly touch. Sometimes it is not grief resurfacing. It is God using the image of someone familiar to bypass your logical defenses and speak directly to your soul. Perhaps the person spoke words that linger in your spirit long after you woke. Perhaps they said nothing at all, but their presence carried weight, meaning, and emotion. If you awoke in tears, understand, this is not simply emotional overflow. It is a message. God may be offering closure, mending an old wound, or imparting a prophetic instruction that your conscious mind would have dismissed in daylight. At other times, such dreams are ancestral awakenings, reminders that a generational battle has reached you, the one chosen to bring it to its end. But caution must rule your interpretation. Not every presence is divine. The enemy is adept at disguise, crafting counterfeits meant to deceive or distract. The key is not in what is said, but in what the dream leaves behind. If you awaken with peace, conviction, or clarity, heaven has touched you. If you wake with confusion, fear, or obsession, it was a counterfeit designed to distort. This is why discernment must be your shield. The next time such a presence appears, do not react in sentimentality. Respond in authority, asking, "Lord, was this from you or a shadow wearing the face of memory?" Because you are not only a dreamer, you are a gatekeeper, and not every spirit should be given entry. Now, there is a kind of dream that does not arrive in symbols at all, but instead arrives like an impact you feel in your very bones, a sudden drop, a jolt that rips you from sleep, your heart pounding and breath short. You are falling, Many dismiss this as anxiety or random firing of the brain, but spiritually, it can mean something far deeper. When God allows you to fall in a dream, it is rarely punishment. It is repositioning. Maybe you are clinging tightly to something you were never meant to carry alone. A relationship, a title, a role that has already served its season. Or perhaps you are gripping pride, stability built on illusion, or a platform constructed from fear rather than faith. In His mercy, God sometimes shakes us free, stripping away what is false before it collapses on top of us. Sometimes He lets us fall almost to the ground simply to show that He is still there to catch us, that what you thought was failure was actually formation. The fall can be a divine reset, not meant to break you, but to rebuild you on truth. Understand this. Falling in a dream can mean separation from what was never truly you: ego, pride, control. The question is not, why am I falling? But what have I built my identity on that God is now shaking? Because in the end, when all else collapses, He remains your foundation. But what happens when the fall is over, and yet you still feel eyes on you like something is watching, even though nothing is there? This final dream may be the most unsettling because it does not manifest in images or action, but in atmosphere. In it, you find yourself in an ordinary space, yet the air feels heavy with unseen awareness. You sense you're being observed, not by a human, not by something you can name, but by a presence that knows you intimately. You turn, look, scan the dream, but nothing visible meets your eyes. Still, you feel measured, known, judged. This is not paranoia. This is spiritual awareness, confirmation that you have crossed into a level where realms beyond your perception have begun to take notice. When you are marked by destiny, both heaven and hell watch. Angels monitor your growth. Demons search for your weakness. The very atmosphere becomes aware of your existence. The dream is God's way of telling you that you are no longer invisible to the invisible. And here is the truth most miss. You are not being watched because you are vulnerable. You are being watched because you are dangerous. Your anointing has risen. Your authority is expanding. The spirit realm is tracking you because your next choice could trigger generational shift. You have been revealed to both light and darkness. This is why you may feel exposed, because you are spiritually lit like a signal tower. The next time you feel those unseen eyes in your dreams, do not run or shrink back. Stand. That gaze is proof that your time to move, to speak, to lead has arrived. Chosen one, there is one truth that binds all these dreams together, one revelation you cannot afford to miss. What you once called just dreams have never been random flickers of imagination. They are blueprints. They are encrypted codes. They are sacred instructions disguised in night visions, given to those whose spirits remain awake even while the body rests. While others are distracted, you are being activated. While the world sleeps, you are being trained. Every image, every emotion, every detail that clings to you upon waking is God marking you, embedding guidance and mystery, so that only those attuned to His voice can understand. He has not been silent. He has been speaking to you in the night because your spirit was ready long before your mind could comprehend. So tonight, do not lie down as though it is nothing. Do not close your eyes as though nothing is happening. Rest with expectation. Sleep with purpose. Enter the night with prophetic awareness, declaring before you drift into slumber, God, speak to me while I sleep. Let heaven hear your response. Let the codes continue. Let your soul remain awake in the dark. And if this word has awakened something deep within you, share it with another chosen one, because those who are called do not walk alone. They recognize each other, confirm each other, and stir each other to action. From this moment forward, you can no longer approach your nights the same way, because now you understand. Your dreams are not passive. They are maps to a destiny you cannot afford to miss. Amen.